Hello internets. I've been using the Nokia E66 for a few months. I thought it was time that I gave my review on the E66 and specifically how it compares to my previous phone, the E90. Okay, well, I'm going to start off with the good points. The phone is actually really well built. It's a nice slimline phone made of good quality materials, mainly a metal case. It's got a shiny metal back. It's not at all plasticky. It runs the Symbian operating system version 3.1, so it's S60 3rd edition, but it's got a slight upgrade which includes some minor enhancements. I'm a fan of the Symbian operating system. I like the way that you can move basically any icon to anywhere in the whole menu system, so you're not tied down to having to go to a certain place. You can just move it to somewhere that's easy to get at for things that you regularly use. I was previously using the Nokia E90, and as you can see, it's a substantially larger phone. It does have this 640 pixel wide screen and full keyboard, but that's about the only thing it has which is better than this phone. The battery lasts about 2 days if you don't use it too much. Obviously, if you have Wi-Fi on a lot or the GPS, then that's going to drain it more quickly. These front buttons, there's absolutely no sign of what they are until the backlight comes on. When the backlight actually comes on, you can see what they are, and I really like that. It's a good effect. It has a really good flip mechanism, the spring-loaded flip, so if I push it down, you'll see it spring shut, and similarly it'll spring open. Best thing about the flip is that you can automatically unlock and lock the keys simply by shutting the phone. This saves valuable time. You could be in the middle of any application or doing anything, you just shut the phone, put it in your pocket straight away, and it's so quick and easy to do that, and the keys are locked immediately. I quite like the addition of the Bluetooth button at the bottom. You simply press and hold and it turns Bluetooth on or off. These shortcut buttons, the 4 at the front and the 2 sort of blue ones, most of them are programmable. You can actually have 2 programs on each button. If you, for example, press it once, you get the first application like that, that's my contacts. However, if you hold it down, you can actually assign that to a second application. In my case, I'm loading up Google Maps. So with these shortcuts and the 2 programmable buttons on the home screen, plus the 6 applications here, you very rarely need to actually go into the menus to get to any applications you've installed. I have the screensaver on this set to the clock. What I really like is that all you have to do is press the middle button or one of the arrow keys, and it puts the time up on the screen really clearly, and then you take your finger off and it dims out again, so you can just do it quickly, or you can hold it down and it'll stay on forever. I really like this clear view of the clock. They basically added transition effects, so when you go onto different screens, whenever you change to a different screen, it sort of fades in from the top left to the bottom right, like that, and fades out, like as you can see on this wide screen. Whereas that may look good, it basically takes a little bit longer every time you try and change to a new menu option. I'd rather that it just came up straight away, or if it even had the option to turn off that effect, because whereas it looks good, all it really does is impress people who are shallow enough to be impressed by that sort of thing, whereas not really appreciating the fact that it takes longer to use in general. The wireless LAN seems to be slightly better for some reason. I don't know if that's just me, but it seems to pick up my network in places that the E90 wouldn't. One of the new features of Symbian S60 3.1 is when you just type a number in, it actually comes up with any phone book entries which have those letters assigned to the numbers. So for example, I've got an entry in here called My Desk Phone. If I press 6 and 9 for M and Y, it actually comes up here with a list of names which match those letters. So it actually saves you from having to go into the contacts and then filtering on My Desk Phone. The E66 comes with a built-in accelerometer, which is one of the reasons why I chose it. So you can actually turn the phone and it'll switch the screen in almost every single application you have. I did think there would be lots of applications available for the phone that uses the accelerometer functions. I had a look and there's almost nothing on there. I think something to do with a different API in this version of the operating system. That means either it's never going to happen or it's going to take a long time until someone writes some applications. I have the feeling that there's never going to be any available. The only application I've managed to get that really makes use of it is this game, which is a reasonably good use of it for playing the game. You can move the ball around the screen, but it soon gets boring and I could do with some nice applications. So that was a bit disappointing. One of the features I really like is that it has an alert that tells you if you've got a missed message or phone call. That's actually shown by a flashing white light around this square D-pad. Here I've actually received a text message and haven't read it yet. You can see this white light flashing around the centre, and I really like this because it actually catches your eye if you're out of the room when you have the message and you didn't hear it. You can actually easily see at a glance that you've got something to read on your phone. One of the features of the accelerometer is that if your phone's ringing, you can actually just turn it over to silence the call. There is of course a silence button available. Another good thing about the accelerometer is that when you take a picture, it actually puts the picture the right way up depending on whether you take it landscape or portrait mode. So when you actually come to transfer the image to your computer in the end, it saves you from having to rotate the image later. Okay, now onto the bad points about the phone. My old E90 has a 3.2 megapixel camera, and so does the E66. So I assume that you'll be able to take videos in the same resolution. You can actually take videos at a 640 by 480 resolution on the E90, which gives you a very, very good quality video. If you watch it on a TV or something, you wouldn't really know it's coming from a phone. It's very, very acceptable. I assumed, since it's basically running the same operating system as the same camera, I thought this would do the same. Unfortunately, it only does 320 by 240 resolution videos, which are basically unusable. I don't know if it's just me, but the reception on here seems to be worse. But often when I just pick up the phone, the reception will go just by me holding it. I find that I have to hold the phone like this to actually get reception. I feel that my hand's blocking the antenna somewhere, and I really wish they would provide you in the user manual or something the positions of the antennas on the phone, like Wi-Fi, GPS, and for GSM. I would actually like to know where they are, so if I am in a position where I sort of need to get a good signal on any one of those services, I would hold the phone in a different way. They don't tell you these things, and I wish they would. There is no FM transmitter on this phone, and there is on the similar N85, and I really wanted an FM transmitter so that I can listen to songs from my phone in my car without having to have any cables. I know it's a business phone, so they take out features like the transmitter and the 3.5mm jack. This has only got a 2.5, which really isn't much use. But I think, why not? They should still have these features in a phone like this. One thing that's got much worse from the E90 is when you take a picture now, even though the camera is quite good now, the button is quite good, you can press it halfway down to get a focus and then all the way down, but the problem is it makes that horrible camera sound. No matter what mode the camera's on, if it's in silence or anything, it always makes that click sound, and I think that's just one of the worst things ever. The E90 didn't used to do that, and I don't want to have a stupid sound. It makes you look like a right twat. The phone has the standard barcode reader for reading 2D barcodes. This one actually seems to work a lot better than the old one. It seems to hone in on barcodes very well. It's got a multi-scanner which is supposed to scan in business cards or just text, but I actually find that it's next to useless. It plays video quite well on full screen and smooth as well. You can play YouTube videos with the standard YouTube application, and they also work pretty well. It's very watchable on this screen. The screen's larger than the E90 screen, although not including the massive internal one, but still, for using it for web browsing, it's not really ideal. You have to scroll a lot, although the hash key does actually zoom out, which is very useful. Well, I hope that's given you some idea about how the two phones compare and some of the new features of the E66. Generally, I think it's a really good phone. I'm really happy with it. If you have any questions about either the E90 or the E66, just leave me a comment and I'll do my best to answer your question.